Good afternoon. This is Chris Harper. It's Friday, April 3. I just want to take a few minutes and talk to you about the latest developments surrounding COVID-19 tax relief, financial considerations, things that you should really be looking at today, or at least in the next coming days. The hottest topic right now is this thing called payroll protection SBA loans. It's right now it's Friday, April 3, 12:47 p.m. and businesses everywhere are scrambling to talk to their lenders about getting these applications in. The Small Business Administration is supposed to have its portal ready, and banks that are authorized to issue SBA loans are tooling up. Any moment now, we should be seeing where these banks can start to accept these applications. This is a huge deal to provide financial relief for businesses that are trying to stay open. The overarching goal is to keep people employed, to give businesses the liquidity they need to keep people employed. Now, you're going to have to fill out some information for this. So the takeaway is this: if you are a small business, I'm talking 500 or fewer employees, you should be in touch with your commercial lender, with an SBA approved commercial lender sooner than later. Okay, pick up the phone as soon as you're done watching this video. The loan amount is based upon your average monthly payroll. It's probably going to be 2.5 times that average monthly payroll if you get approved. These are the guidelines that we're seeing. And the good thing about this, or interesting at least, is that it may be potentially forgivable. Now, we're seeing this is a very fluid situation. In fact, overnight, the Small Business Administration issued a new version of the form. So, I mean, I had clients that I was dealing with as late as 10 o'clock last night, helping them get ready with what they thought was a completed form. And we woke up this morning to find out there's a new version. So the best advice right here is to get in touch with your lender. What we're talking about here, even if it doesn't get forgiven, we're talking about very low interest rates. At one point, we saw 4%. I believe that's the maximum. I've seen 0.5%. This morning, I saw 1%. Okay, very inexpensive money, deferred payments for 6 months, and then any amount not forgiven, you repay it over 2 months. But still, this is over 2 years. Excuse me. But still, this is a very this is something that every small business should be looking at this point. On the individual side of things, some things I want you to know about is that the Treasury Department will be issuing rebates. Okay, it's really a 2020 tax credit, but we're talking here $1,200 per person if you're eligible, plus $500 per dependent child on your tax return. Okay, so what we're talking about here is, take a family of 4, mom and dad and 2 children. That's $1,200 per parent, $2,400 plus $500 per dependent child. That's $3,400 that could be directly deposited into your bank account sooner than later. Treasury Secretary Mnuchin has been talking about it could be 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, March 25, he said 3 weeks. I saw something on the news that this could even be expedited, but only if they have your direct deposit information on file. If they don't have that on file, starting with 2018, then you're probably going to get a paper check. Now, you do need to know that this could be reduced. If you are single and you earn more than $75,000, it's going to start to get reduced. If you're a joint filer, married filing joint with $150,000 of income, that will result in a reduction. Head of household, this starts at $112,500, and it gets reduced by 5% of the amount that exceeds that threshold. So really $5 for every $100 of income above that threshold. Just as one example, a single filer will no longer be eligible at $99,000 of income. Now, why do I bring this up? If you have not filed your 2019 tax return, you should pay close attention to whether or not it makes sense for you to file ASAP or to delay filing. You see, if your 2018 tax return showed an income that would have qualified you for a larger credit, maybe a full credit, but your 2019 income rose and you might not be eligible for the same amount of credit, the larger credit, maybe it makes sense to delay filing that 2019 return until you receive your stimulus payment. However, let's say your income in 2018 was too high and would have limited or even eliminated your credit, but your 2019 income has decreased, which could make you eligible for a bigger credit. There's a lot of like logic right there to just say file ASAP then, because that increases the chance that you might get a larger credit right now. A few other things to know before we run out of time here. Federal and state of Michigan tax returns, the due date for filing the returns and making payments has been extended to July 15. That means that if you owe with your 2019 tax return, if you had a balance due, that does not have to be paid on April 15. You have until July 15. That is also true for first quarter estimated tax payments. Now, the odd thing is your second quarter estimated tax payment is still due on June 15, so that could be due before you actually owe your first quarter, but we'll worry about that in a little bit. Okay, City of Grand Rapids has extended from April 30 to July 31. And two other quick points here. The 10% penalty, if you take a retirement plan distribution, normally there's a 10% penalty for early withdrawals. There will be no 10% penalty for amounts withdrawn up to $100,000 for expenses related to coronavirus purposes. Finally, if you are over age 70 and a half, including people who turned 70 and a half during the 2019 tax year, you normally would have to start taking required minimum distributions from your retirement accounts, RMDs. Those requirements have been waived for 2020. And it actually probably makes a lot of sense to think about. I mean, you could elect to take distributions, of course, but with the markets down right now, if you can keep some of those investments in your account, it might be worthwhile. Just keep in mind, this is just general financial advice, general tax advice. You need to contact your own tax and financial advisor because these details need to be applied to your personal situation. More on everything as it becomes apparent. This is a very fluid situation. I'm sure if I talk to you on Monday, something will have changed.